Okay, Jackson, hurry up. All right, so 6.3.
Are those them?
No, they're Nick.
Subtraction.
Adding and subtracting. Oh, this is
You gotta calibrate that.
good lord. What does this happen?
I don't know.
Life probs, eh? Can we get a new clock, by the way?
I'm working on a battery.
They're in the office.
All right. Okay, so when you're adding and subtracting, rationals are just like fractions. What do we know about adding and subtracting fractions?
You just
Same denominator, common denominators, yeah.
They're the small ones.
So I'm going to show you guys how to find a common denominator in algebra. Okay? So the rules for these are pretty straightforward. Simplify everything first. You simplify first, don't cancel anything out. Get a common denominator. And then combine everything on the numerator. All right? All right, you only, remember when you're adding fractions, you only add the top part, right? So don't start adding things on the bottom as well, because then it gets weird. Okay? This is probably the tricky unit, okay? So just stay with me. All right, so I'll do a simple example first. Two x all over. What? Oh, okay. It's like, are you panicking? Okay. Believe it or not, this is as easy as I can make these. All right. So this looks confusing, but it's not bad. Can I simplify anything? No.
No?
Don't try to find work when there is no work.
Okay.
Are my denominators the same?
Yeah.
That's a common denominator. I don't need to do anything. So now all I do is combine everything on the numerator. So what's 2x plus 8?
10x.
Can I add? They're not common. They're not like terms. So it's just 2x.
Why'd you say that?
All right, and then my denominator is just.
There should be a rule about no letters being in there.
Okay. Not so bad, right?
No.
Okay.
Is that it?
Well, technically now what I can do is I can take a 2 out of all of this.
Yeah, that's what I thought you had to do before.
No, you do it now
That's
that
not
it.
simplifying.
Like I can't take a 2 out of this in this right away. Only simplify, like factor your brackets down.
Oh.
You're not trying to cancel anything out, remember?
Right.
But don't cancel. But now that I've added things, now I can simplify. Okay? So now once everything's added together, I simplify. I got an x plus 4 and an x plus 4, right? Those cancel out. And I'm just left with. Okay.
You confuse me, man.
What are you talking about? Where'd you get lost?
Well, I didn't get lost. It's just you said don't cancel out, and then I got.
You cancel out at the very end.
That's why I got confused. Like,
Because what people will do, like it's easier to come up with a common denominator with everything there, instead of taking things out than trying to put stuff back in. All right, and then taking things out again. Leave it there and work with what you got. Okay.
oh man.
Do you guys want to do? Should we? Yeah, let's try these. Okay. So I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna show you guys now stuff without a common denominator.
So since this is like this, y has to be bigger than 5.
Oh. Okay. I'll be right back. Okay, so
Wow.
this is actually.
I love that.
So here's the equation written out. It's actually 3 over 1, right? So now to come up with the common denominator, I have to see everything that I have. All right, I have a 1, an x squared, and an xy. All right. So I need all of this as my denominator pretty much. So I need an x squared, and I need a y, and I need a 1. Because I already have one x. How do I make x look like x squared? Well, you don't square, you times it by itself, right? So I have to multiply this guy by x. And remember, with fractions, when you multiply the denominator, you also have to multiply.
Yeah, for number 5, it doesn't tell me what I'm supposed to figure out.
You don't do number 5.
So I'm done.
Sure. Now, what do I need? How do I make this y? How do I get x to y?
Just throw it over there.
I times it by y, right? I multiply this guy by y. I multiply this guy by y. All right. And then how do I make 1 look like x squared y?
Multiply it by that.
Right. So basically you got to look at everything and see what the other one needs, okay? Like I looked at this one, this has an x, but I need an x squared, so I multiply it by an x. This x squared needs a y, so I multiply everything by y. The one needs the x squared and the y, so I multiply everything by x squared y. Does that make kind of sense? Kind of awkwardly explained it there, I know, but. So now I have to do all the multiplication here. The bottom's easy because I made every denominator the same, so they're all just going to be x squared y now. Okay? So we don't need to do a lot there. But now I have to do all the multiplication on top. So 2x times x. 2x squared. 4 times y is 4y. Thank you, Jackson. 3 times x squared y is just. So now I got to do, so now I have a common denominator, I've done all my multiplication. Now, can I combine any of the terms up top, or any of them like terms?
No.
No, so they all have to stay. So it's just going to be 2x squared. All over. This is going to take some time to get used to this. All right? And Only way to get used to this is to do them. Alright, I can't just show you something once and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. You have to practice these. Okay? And they take 5 minutes a question now. That's math 20. Okay?
So you can't do anything else with that or no?
No, I can't simplify it. I can't take an x squared out of everything. I can't take a y out of everything, right? So it's done. Now, what a lot of people do is they multiply everything to get the common denominators, and then they go, oh look, I can take an x squared out. Oh look, I can take a y out. Oh look, I can take all this out. And they cancel everything out. And then they're left with the exact same equation that they started with. And then they'll do that. They'll do like 3 times on a piece of paper. They'll cancel, go back, multiply, cancel, go back. Don't do that. Don't cancel until the very end, if you can. Otherwise, you leave it. Okay? Simplify, yes. Cancel, no. Let's try another one. Okay, this will be the last one I do with you guys today, then I'll give you guys some to try. Alright, so we want to simplify what we can first. That's not a difference of squares up top. Y squared minus 20 is not a difference of squares. So it has to stay there. Y squared minus 4, though, that is a difference of squares. So I'm going to rewrite it out.
Thanks for telling me.
Okay. Now, so I look at my denominators. I need to make them common. I already see that I have a y plus 2 between the both of them. Great. That's taken care of. I'm missing, though, a y minus 2 between this guy and this guy. So I multiply this one over here by y minus 2. Does that make sense? We're okay with that part? Okay. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the multiplication. So I have no. Are you guys okay if I write this all over a common denominator now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But this is just way to work.
Normally I was doing this at the end with you guys, but I'm just going to do it now because it's easier. Plus. So now, y minus 2 times y minus 2. That's FOIL. Okay. So y times y is y squared minus 2y minus 2y plus 4. I just did the FOIL, Bella.
I know, it's just a lot to write.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, these questions probably take 5 minutes a pop. Okay? Got it? Right on, thank you. Do you need something to work on? 6.6. It's ready for you guys. All right, so now that I've multiplied everything out and everything's there, I combine like terms. Y squared plus y squared. 2y squared. Negative 2y minus negative 2y. Or minus 2y. Negative 4y. Negative 20 plus 4. Okay, how are we feeling about that?
Pretty good.
All right.
That's the fun.
Simplify the denominator or just the
Leave it in brackets. Don't multiply it out. What's that, Bella?
That was kind of a question. Like, is there anything else that you'd have to do with that?
Well, I was just gonna say this would get you 4 out of 5.
Oh.
If I look, I can take a 2 out of everything on top. So I'm gonna do that. Now I'm just gonna look for giggles. If they're factors of 8, that'll give me -2.
No.
This isn't so bad. I don't know what you guys are. Oh, come on. We've been doing this.
That's it. That's all you can do.
Yeah, it's
That's all.
unsolvable. Done.
Nope, you've just done that.
I'm gonna guess if I just try my very, very hardest and do my very best, I can find something.
Nope. Impossible.
I like glanced at it as I was walking in the door and said, yeah, I could do something with that.
You just can't do it.
Count the wood. Look at that. Y plus 2, Y plus 2. So nice. Now, Brooke, what do I do to it? Quick, tell me.
I didn't hear the question.
Nothing.
Very good. You don't do anything.
That's
Done.
That was so mean.
That's
Fine.
pretty straightforward.
What did he just say? That it was
He didn't mean it.
straightforward.
Well, that part.
You
That
lied.
part. The last part.
It kind of sounded like you meant it.
I think you did.
Don't know what that.
Nobody.
Okay, let's do one more. Just so we get this idea of a common denominator down, okay? And then I'll stop talking.
You wouldn't believe if I knew this.
Oh, we do for 10. Okay, we're probably just gonna get this done. First things first. What was that? Is that a what song is that? Who sings it? Kanye?
No, it's a girl.
Beyonce?
Iggy
Lady Gaga?
so
Yeah,
Lady
Iggy
Gaga.
Azalea.
This is
Oh,
the-
Iggy! Oh, shame on you.
I don't like the song.
Shame on you.
I just know of it.
Shame.
Yeah, right, Jackson.
Yeah, I listen
It's your
to it.
ringtone.
You're right, I listen to it every day.
It's your ringtone.
You caught me, it's actually my alarm.
That'd be a good way to start
It's my third.
That would definitely get you up.
Oh, yeah. Up to the bathroom.
Does it say, does it say I'm the realist?
Yes.
Yes,
Where?
it does.
Where?
In the song.
Oh,
I always thought it was I'm a realist.
I'll take your word
Just
for
a
it.
word.
Okay, I factored this guy. We're all okay with what I factored there, right?
No.
If you guys look now, we learned factoring in grade 10. You looked combining like terms in grade 9. We learned fractions in grade 4. And now look how it all just kind of came together. There's a
I'll ask
method
my
to the
grade 5
madness.
brother.
What's that?
I'll ask my grade 5 brother.
Do it. They probably don't. No one knows fractions. But all right, so I need a common factor or common denominator. Sorry, I have an x plus 3 and an x plus 3, right? Cool. This one has an x minus 2, so this one needs an x minus 2. So I multiply both numerator and denominator by x minus 2. This guy needs an x plus 1. Okay. Oh, this is subtraction 1. This is a great way to end a Friday. All right, so x plus 1, x plus 3, x minus 2. Cool? Cool. All right. X plus 1 times x minus 1. Does that look familiar to anyone?
That would be the conjugate.
The conjugate, which is just like a difference of squares. Very good. Brooke, you always got to be hating, hey?
Haters
That's all
gonna
you
hate.
need.
Haters are gonna hate.
Haters gonna talk.
Now, with the subtraction one, you guys, put the subtraction sign there, and then do everything else in brackets. Because that negative sign there, what is a negative? What happens when you multiply everything by a negative? It changes the sign. So this negative sign here through subtraction is going to change the sign on everything.
Maybe I should have wrote a test today.
Maybe. You're on fire, actually. Subtraction is harder by a million degrees than adding because of that changing the sign on everything. Everyone freaks out about the signs and then makes huge mistakes. So just be aware of that. I always recommend putting brackets around everything and then changing the sign afterwards. Okay? So if I do the FOIL here now, okay? Thank you. Grade 10s for homework, do number 4 from 6.6. Oh!
If you were
That's
half a
fine.
second later.
Number 4, 6.6, what page?
Emery, do you remember the page number?